million, 2 million, 3 million, 4, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 100.
What up, Panther Nation? It is your boy, the freaking Puerto Rican, Joey Riolano in the house. Tonight's episode of Cat Chronicles is action-packed. We got a lot of material to cover, and we got a Panthers Twitter and NFC South battle veteran superstar in the house, Panther Nasty, also known as Vegas 26. Say hello.
What's up, Panther Nation? How you doing? Let's get it.
And my co-host, as usual, and my partner in crime sometimes, back when we were young anyway.
Yeah, that's right. It's the professor, Touchdown Tony Dunn here tonight, talking so much for CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're glad to have Willie P., one of our he is our second oldest friend on the show tonight. Only second to what is it? It's Steve Danner, right? So thanks a ton for coming on, Willie.
No doubt, man. Yes, my man Steve, man. Steve is my boy, Steve Dana, but no doubt.
Yeah. Before we look, guys, today has been insane in Panther Nation and C3 Video Podcast. We are the quickest on it, the hottest on it right now because we're going to talk Camp Cuts. But today I watched Twitter Court TV all day long and followed the Greg Hardy story. So we would be remiss if we didn't talk about that just for a moment. And it's kind of cool and it's kind of strange in some ways that I watched a court case via Twitter. So we're going to talk that tonight. Tonight we're also going to talk about training camp, which we're all ready to go. Joey, myself, I'm going twice. I've been excited about this. I've been intensely breaking down the roster, and what we want to do is talk about, look, it's going to be nasty, folks. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions made, and so we want to talk about those decisions tonight and give some insight because I think a lot of it is not clear, but we can understand it though. So we'll talk about that. But before we get started, I do want to give a couple of shout outs to some of our friends that got some good stuff going on right now. Big Q, Team Boy TV Live from Team Boy TV Turbo. So it's at Team Boy TV Turbo. And their show starts tomorrow night. It's the second episode, 7:35, Team Boy TV Live, and they're going to be talking AFC South. They kind of mixed me up. That's why I'm looking at my note card. They talked about NFC East last week, so I was like, they're going to talk AFC East. Nope, I looked it up today just to double check. AFC South, they're going to be bringing that. So that's going to be great. They've been doing some fun stuff. Glass, they had some big talks last night. Crazy. I was bashing them about saying T.O. was better than Randy Moss. Can't buy that.
Oh, yeah, nah.
And also, yeah, see? All right. And then also, one last plug, not for the faint of heart, though, folks. The Voice, 2525, who is with Panther Nasty and them boys in the TTC, he's going in some kind of competition that's called, the Panther Fan Battle or something like that?
No, Battle of the Fans.
The Battle of the Fans. So
he's repping our beloved team.
Okay, so he's like in an NCAA bracket of fan chatter. But check out The Voice 2525 on YouTube. But I will warn you, it's not for the faint of heart. It is definitely, my man films his videos in his car, like away from everybody. He's like locked up.
He goes in. He loves his team.
He does. So check that out. But all right, let's go ahead and get started. Joey, all day long, what did you think? Greg Hardy on trial for assaults. What is it? Assaulting a female and communicating threats.
Right.
Yeah. How did you feel about watching Twitter Court TV today?
Well, I felt going into it that Greg Hardy was in a good position. I mean, as good a position as you can be with these charges pending. Okay, I felt like he was going to make a strong case and things would be thrown out. Honestly, I thought Holder, the female, Mrs. Holder, Miss Holder would not show up. Lo and behold, she did. And as the case progressed, initially it looked like things were going poorly for Hardy. Um, and then I believe there was a break. I really liked it. It was almost like play by play on Twitter.
It was. It was.
It was
I created a list in Twitter today for just, and I've been meaning to do this. I finally created a list of like the Charlotte reporters: Joe Pearson, Jonathan
Steve
Jones,
Steve Reed.
yeah, and Newton, and also Black and Blue Review. And those dudes were in the courtroom just like, I felt like that. You know that little chick that sits up at the front with the little thing? That's what they all were. Every single one of them was just tweeting away, and I was watching like it was like the O.J. Simpson trial, man.
Exactly.
It was insane.
It was. I don't know that there's, well, as far as I've known, there's never been so much coverage regarding a court case on Twitter, to my knowledge.
Right.
Well, we just haven't followed it. Probably, there's probably somewhere that they've been doing that for everything, but certainly not in Charlotte sports before.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Willie, you're all the way in California. How much did you see of it today on Twitter? Were you busy, or did you catch some of it?
I watched most of it. I was there because, like you said in the beginning, it looked like Holder wasn't going to show up. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, this thing's going to get thrown out. And then she came in, and it did go south. And it went south, and I'm thinking, wow, because initially I thought he's the one that called the cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so here you hear, okay, this should be a slam dunk. He should be off, right? And then, I'm a little disappointed, man, but, I kept watching Joe Person and Steve Reed, and they was, like you said, man, they was in there tweeting their behinds off. I'm surprised they ain't
man, it was, I thought they were going to be in contempt of court, like, just from just pounding the keys.
Right. They have carpal tunnel now in their thumbs.
It was, what I thought, though, is not only didn't think she was going to show up, because I thought that she... And I just follow. I don't know any of it really, other than what I just read on Twitter and the news. But I thought that she was starting to think that she bit the hand that fed her, and she was trying to chill out a little bit, and like, all right, I got all crazy a little bit, and now I'm trying to back down on this, and hopefully I could work, at least salvage a rent payment, like she said. So, I didn't. So when she showed up, but look, I was watching it. I felt like I was watching it pretty damn closely. I think my wife would say that. Like while she was cooking, I didn't help at all today. I just sat at the computer when I got home from work, and I didn't think it went bad for him. I thought that all the stuff was like circumstantial. I thought they were showing pictures of some guns that like, all right, well, yeah, it's kind of weird that you have an arsenal on the bed, but it's not illegal. No. And really, the girl on drugs, he was too. Come on now. I mean, or somebody was. Maybe not, because he had to go to practice the next day, but they were partying. And he won't just like, oh, just do those lines over there like with Johnny Manziel, and I ain't going to worry about it. I mean, it was just... But I thought that you couldn't send anybody to jail on that. I thought they should have just said, you're both stupid.
Right. I agree.
And I felt like she just, like, went crazy. Now, and when I say crazy, I mean, I'm not saying things don't get out of hand, but I didn't think that it was, like, only his fault.
Yeah.
But only one person's going to jail. And so... I gotta say this, man. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys this: fact or fiction? Are white chicks crazy?
Mm-hmm.
All chicks are crazy.
All females, agreed.
That's right. They're all crazy, and all dudes are stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm married.
But here,
I'm married to a Dominican right now.
Yeah. Look, they were. There was. Okay, the very first question, and let's take this to the Panthers real quick, because I know people want to hear about that rather than just our take on Twitter and how it's crazy. Like, I felt like I was sitting in the courtroom. But the very first question I saw tweeted about this because he took the stand. I was a little surprised about that. And he said, they asked him, are you going to play for the Carolina Panthers this season? And he said, yes, sir, hopefully. Willie, what do you think is going to happen to him?
I think he might get suspended the first 4 games. I think, hopefully it's not more than that. He'll play for Carolina this year, but I don't see him being the Carolina Panther after this year. I really don't. Not after this. And not the way our roster's set up right now. I don't see it.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be a Panther in 2015 before this.
I agree.
Unless we decided to part ways with Charles Johnson and hedge our bets with the Kraken. But this certainly does not help his. This was an expensive night of partying, or this was an expensive, wacky girlfriend to get mixed up with.
Mm-hmm.
And she was. They said she was sarcastic on the stand. So
Right.
like she is just a big pain in the ass. That's what I would say. But Joey, what do you think about this? Is he going to play for the Carolina Panthers this year? How bad is this?
Well, I think him being suspended 4 games is a definite possibility, but let's remember that they are appealing this decision. Yes, he was found guilty in this court, but they're appealing it, and they would like a jury trial, which could completely change things. I don't know when they're going to have it, and I don't know how long those take. But if it's not until after the season, I wonder if Goodell is going to allow him his day in court to be judged by a jury of his peers as opposed to one person's opinion.
Right.
So it's possible that he may put off suspending him until after the appeal. And if he does that, then he could be here for he may play the whole year, depending on when, they schedule the next court case.
Yeah. You know what? Good point. Yeah, you're right about that.
So I'm hoping that's the way it goes. Now, there's no guarantee that it will for sure, but I'm hoping that's the way that it goes for the team's sake. Because he is a big part of our defense. There's no doubt about it.
Looking at the whole situation, I felt like they would try to make a move to keep both guys. You look at the Giants, when they lost their pass rush, they lost everything.
Yeah.
And we are basically that same kind of team minus offensively.
Right.
Not too many defensive ends is getting paid $76 million, $60 million a year like CJ is getting paid right now. I figure they both got the same agent. I figure you work on CJ contract first, make it reasonable. With the cap going up 12 to 15 million next year in 2015, of course you got to pay Cam. You better pay Cam.
That's right.
You start making moves to keep both. You can lose running backs. You don't want to lose pass rush.
No way.
That's the strength and that's the backbone of our team. Greg Hart is too young of a talent. But after this situation, we'll see. Well, I think this definitely hurt his chances, though.
I have to agree. And here's something to consider as well. If they don't suspend him until the first part of next year, okay, let's say that he plays all this season and then the court dates in the off season, and then he's found guilty and they suspend him. Now, is a team going to want to pay him big money if they know he's going to miss 4 games or let's say 6 games? Will that help the Panthers kind of be able to keep him because it'll make him more affordable? Because if he's going to get the same amount of money here or there, wouldn't he just stay where he's at?
I think so. I think that he definitely wants to be here. That's not even. He definitely wants to be here.
Right.
He's not, if that's the case, I really feel like you could probably right now. Charles Johnson's getting paid $16 million.
Right.
It should be more around like 9 to 10.
I agree.
I think if we get both those guys in here around 9 to 10 million each, I think that's a win-win for us. I know we still got Frank Alexander. We have Coney Ely. We're probably going to say forget one of those guys, but I feel like The strength of our team is that pass rush,
Yeah.
and the strength of our team is that rotation.
Right, and don't forget about Mario Addison, who
Right.
came on. He came on and played pretty good
And
last year. Right.
Joey,
So, yeah.
Joey, you
Yes,
got
Tony.
to keep going for a second. My computer locked up, so just carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We got it. We got it. So I think that is the strength of our defense, and you got to keep your strengths strong. You know what I
hey,
mean?
we see it with the Giants. You know what happened? You win the Super Bowl, and then boom,
Right.
they lost their pass rush, and everything went with it.
Right.
You know, yeah,
Strahan retired.
right. You know, Tuck didn't play the way he
Right.
been playing in the past, and
Same thing with OC. He
Oaks,
left free agency.
right.
Yeah.
And you know, we
But
paying way too much money to running backs.
yes.
Way too much money
Yes.
to running backs, and you know, I love Double Trouble. I love them to death. I'll
Me
never
too.
forget the joy they brought us. You know what I mean?
For
But
sure.
I think it's that time, man. I know we can't cut Jonathan Stewart this year, but I think that's the direction we need to go in. Keep your
And
defensive ends.
right. And lose running backs. Right. Sacrifice the running backs because they're much more easily replaceable. You know, especially
And we might
when you're running them by committee. You know, we don't
right,
have an Adrian Peterson who's going to get
right,
all the carries.
right. And honestly, I think if you could make, I'll just save this part for later on in the show. So, but I feel like that's the direction we need to go in. Don't cut the defensive ends. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna feel about this Greg Hardy thing.
Right.
Carolina, ever since the Ray Caruth thing, we don't play them kind of game.
You're right.
But you know, it's a different situation. I'm not comparing it to the Ray Caruth thing. No disrespect to the
Totally.
families
Yeah. Totally
and no
different. You're
disrespect
right.
to the holder and everything. But you know, me personally, I think as a team, I think our best option would be to somehow try to save.
Right. Totally agree with you. Tony, you back on?
I am back in
All
full
right.
effect.
We were
Sorry.
just, it's all right. Technical glitches happen. We were carrying on without you.
Nice.
We're glad you're back, though. We were just talking about the possibility of Greg Hardy not being suspended this year because they put the trial at in the off season. And if they put the trial in the off season and he's found guilty and he's going to serve a 4 or 6 game suspension at the beginning of 2015, do you think that's going to turn off possible suitors for Greg Hardy and maybe make the chances of him staying in Carolina greater? Because if it boils down to, do I want to play in, let's say, Carolina, or do I want to play in, let's say, just Dallas for the same amount of money, where am I going to go? Carolina's got this great team that we've already built. We got a chance to win Super Bowls, where Dallas is kind of stuck at 8-8 for the past 10 years.
I certainly hope that's what happens for one specific reason, because I want to see what Dave Gettleman does. And I want to see if Dave Gettleman is such a money hawk that he would do that, or I want to see if the Carolina Panthers are just ready to part ways with him. And I could really see both in some ways. I mean, like Jerry Richardson has stepped back from the team a little bit. He's let Dave Gettleman have a very, it seems like, full control of roster decisions. And not that, I mean, I feel like Richardson had a little more influence on Marty Herney. So we would get to see, like, is Dave Gettleman only about the money and the roster, and like, or I just can't ever see. I think his days of Panther ended today with the word guilty. And
Wow.
They said the guy on Bill Voth from Black and Blue Review said he used his name in the same sentence as Ray Caruth, and I heard you guys on the back end not comparing him, but he tried to say he was our second biggest problem since Ray Caruth, and it kind of sucks, man. I think that what this is, I want to go ahead and say something to Big Q. I'm going to address somebody that's watching right now. This is why I don't hate on Josh Gordon, because all these mugs are out there doing mess like this. So to act like one kid, I mean, he's just a little more unfortunate than the others. This is just as bad as anything else. But how many cats in the NFL are doing this tonight? Not like this same thing, but they ain't at home studying their playbook.
Right.
So,
Right.
One of the things, though, that stuck out to me, guys, is the judge said that no one in the court believed that he wasn't guilty or could not see his guilt. It was a crazy, and I could pull up the tweet. I'll pull it up in a second. But I didn't get that feeling through Twitter. So it was he had no chance here. He had no chance. I think this is, is this one of those charges that you're just going to be guilty of anytime someone calls the police? Like if you get an assault charge, you're just guilty because there was a fight.
You see, that is, I think there's a double standard here. I think the double standard applies because if he would have been a woman who would have called the police and, said, I'm being attacked or whatever the case may be, then it's another story. But he called the 911 saying, hey, look, I'm trying to get this lady out of my house, but she won't leave. And then they show up, and she's acting all kind of, what am I going to say? She's tweaking a little bit, holding on tight to her purse because she knows she's got some coke in there or whatever may have been in there, allegedly.
The cops said she tried to run.
Right. And yet he's the one that gets arrested and goes to jail. There's a double standard there, brother. That is a double standard, is what I'm saying.
I just thought it was crazy. Is that like basically all these kids are just partying hard and acting fools, and one guy paid like $9 million for that weekend.
Possibly.
So, I mean, in the end, he could have been one of the biggest if he would have hit free agency and he was like cleaned up and that he didn't get in any trouble. He had just crafted an image of the Kraken, which was popular. It was scary but lovable to children. He just had a children's camp. You know what I mean? He was on the come, and now my man is going to be hanging with us. We might be able to interview him on the Carolina Cat Chronicles podcast in a couple years. So, all right, you guys got anything else you want to say about?
I want to ask a question.
Hardy?
Was it a male or female judge?
I think it was a male, but I can't really tell you.
Okay, I didn't know if anyone knew.
We can't hear Willie.
Yeah, I know. Can you maybe text him and tell him to check his mic?
Yeah, just go ahead and drop out, and we'll call you back. Let's see if he can hear. So, Joey, do you feel grimy for watching this like that closely and like saying things about people on the internet?
No, not at all. Unfortunately, I feel more grimy about watching some of the reality TV shows I watched than what took place today.
Okay. I had a lot of stuff I kind of wanted to talk about. I was just so fascinated with the Greg Hardy. Guilty. I mean, it was decisive. Let's see. Is Willie back?
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yeah,
you're
good.
good.
Okay.
You're good.
What I wanted to say was, it's hard to make a 6'4", 290-pound man a victim, and I think that's where when he walked in that courtroom looking like a giant, I don't think everybody was like, wait a minute, I think that's what played against him.
That's a good point.
I think so. He looks kind of slim for being so big.
He looks kind of slim to us. When you walk in that courtroom with them regular people.
Oh yeah, he's a Mega Man coming in there, the Hulk.
Right, exactly.
And she was probably 5 foot nothing and weighed like 130 pounds or 120 pounds. But I think the fact that she was just clearly on drugs, and all the people were like, one dude, I like his manager, they asked him if he was trying to hook up with with her friend, and he was like, "Yes, sir." Were you trying to hook up with this girl tonight? He's like, "Yes, sir." And then they asked Greg Hardy. They broke up. They broke up at the Pro Bowl. Did you hear how my man broke up with her?
They changed their flight ticket from New York to Charlotte. Is that right?
Yeah. And then she was on the stand complaining about it. I would have said this, girl, make your own damn flight plans. If you say, I mean, like, good Lord. And so they asked him, they said, so you guys broke up, but you guys still hook up? He's like, and Greg Hardy said, like, something like, just, yes, sir. And the guy, so he said, so does this day and age mean that y'all still have sex? And he's like, yes, sir. It's just so stupid in some ways. But okay, I'm kind of through with the Greg Hardy thing.
There's a lot more to come. This is a liquid situation. There's a lot more to come. You know, we don't have anything finished by any means yet. Tomorrow it's going to be a whole new bunch of revelations.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, is that he could be in jail for a little while. Maybe it's a suspended sentence. Joey, what does that really mean, that you don't really do it right now?
I don't think. Right, I think the suspended sentence means you don't have to go to jail, but if something comes up between now and between the time your suspended sentence is up, they would throw you in jail, I believe.
Or if you don't do like the classes or you know, he's not allowed to go to the club she works at. So we know one less bar to try to place ourselves at this weekend in trying to catch a Panther is let's not go to her bar. Like, you know, no Panther going to be there anymore. And what's this place called? The Bubble. Is it a place called The Bubble or someone called The Bubble? Because I kept seeing the name Bubble in the trial today. And I think it's either a bar or a club. I don't know. So we just got a window into what it's like to be a Carolina Panther NFL star with crazy girls and partying. Let's go ahead.